All right, man. Everything is pretty much died down now, and all the big moves are pretty much done. I know a lot of y'all been hitting me up and, wondering where I've been and wanting me to report every single move, but I didn't want to do it like that. Like, I wanted to wait till everything dies down and then talk about it. I didn't want to spam y'all with videos. Too much of any good thing can turn into a bad thing to me. Fun fact, bro. Too much water is actually bad for your kidneys, and we know water is great for the body. Too much fruit is actually too much sugar, and fruit is good for you. Anything that's good in the excessive form turns into a bad thing. There is one exception though. As a man, I don't think you can have too many good grooming products, especially when we're talking about below the belt. And this is exactly where today's sponsor, Manscaped, this is where they come in clutch. Yes, I know you love the transition. Even if you think you already have everything, don't be selfish, bro. Maybe you should get it for pops. Today, I want to put y'all on with their new and improved performance package. This for your dad, bro, this has everything he needs. The Lawnmower 3.0 that's waterproof, has an LED light, advanced skin safe technology so he doesn't have to worry about nicks and cuts. Their new weed whacker that's perfect for your nose and ears. If you grow hair in any of those awkward spots, they got you covered. And bro, they even care about your funky, crusty nails, bro. They have a new Shears 2.0 luxury nail kit. You might not ever care or look at your nails, but I promise she does. If you want all this, or if you know somebody that needs all this, use my promo code SWISH and get 20% off of your first order. They're even adding in 2 free gifts for a limited time only. Big shout out to my good friends over at Manscaped for taking care of my guys. Now let's get into this video.
Play at a high level. It's going to be scary. That's all I can tell you. It's going to be scary. Not for us.
It's funny that like in a matter of one season, Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook basically switched spots for how they're viewed in the NBA right now. One of the biggest moves all last offseason was Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook getting traded for each other. 2 of the biggest names, 2 of the biggest contracts. It came out that Chris Paul and James Harden had this unfixable relationship. James Harden was taking these weird shots at Chris Paul saying, oh my God, Russell Westbrook, I got that dog beside me now. And it seemed like it was going to be one big ass bromance, but it didn't last. We all, if we're being honest, we all had that suspicions in our gut, in our subconscious of how it would actually work. Like, these are 2 of the highest usage rate players in history, and they're playing together. But we all kind of put a blind eye to it. Like, man, they bros, they're brothers, they're from California, they play together, they'll figure it out. And that just doesn't happen in basketball. Fast forwarding one off season later, they don't have Daryl Morey anymore. They don't have Mike D'Antoni anymore. They don't have Clint Capella anymore. And both of your 2 biggest stars requested a trade. And even your side pieces like PJ Tucker and Austin Rivers, now they're coming out and they were unhappy all along. Trevor Ariza. Now you have this weird ass state of the team. Nobody really wants to trade for Russell Westbrook. He has the worst trade value in the NBA with John Wall. That's why they possibly could be traded for each other, because nobody wants those 2. And James Harden, it's hard to trade him too, because anybody that takes him, you have to be willing to kind of slice and maneuver your team around to fit with James Harden, bro. He's a system within himself. You can possibly go into the 2021 training camp or the 2021 season with your coach, GM, and best big gone, and 3 of your most important players unhappy as hell.
That's tough, man.
Last year around this time for Golden State, it was kind of a weird one. Like, Klay Thompson, Steph, Draymond, Steve Kerr, they had just come off of 5 straight NBA Finals appearances. So we all knew they were drained. On top of all that, Klay Thompson gets injured in his contract year. Like, essentially, you were paying a player a max contract, and you really had no idea how he was going to come back. That's just unfortunate. Kevin Durant leaves you, and on the flip side of that, you got D'Angelo Russell. But, we all knew he was trade bait. That's my favorite player, but he was trade bait. But for the trade bait, you got Andrew Wiggins. Now, I'm not one to, bash Andrew Wiggins. Like, he was the number one pick in a bad draft class. It is what it is. I'm just looking at who they're paying and how much they're paying him. Like, Stephen Curry is their their highest paid player, deservingly so. He's Stephen Curry. He's coming off an injury though. Klay Thompson is second at $35 million. This is going to be a second straight year not playing for him. Like, that's just unfortunate. Third, you have Andrew Wiggins at $30 million. Bro, we all know Andrew Wiggins ain't worth no damn $30 million. Then you got Draymond. I don't really know where or how he is. Then you got Kelly Oubre fifth, coming off a torn meniscus. Bro, it's just unfortunate, man. Chris Paul last offseason, and I say this all the time, he was laughed at. Like, that's why I made that video. We all owe Chris Paul an apology. People always try to say, oh, not me, not me, not me. But I always say this one thing. Look at the comments of his introduction video when he went to OKC. It was everybody clowning him. Now, it's kind of unfortunate because I don't think he's in the position to win, with Phoenix and all that stuff. But he's in the perfect Chris Paul situation. No, like I said, they're not winning a championship, but his career to me is really mentoring a bunch of young guys and elevating a team that was bad. He's done that everywhere. If you look at the Hornets, look at what he did for that franchise. If you look at the Clippers, look at what he did for that franchise. If you look at the Rockets, even though they were still, good and all that stuff, he almost got them to the finals, bro. Like, come on, bro. You got to give him that. If you look at OKC, the exact same thing. This is the perfect situation for Chris Paul, and this is really his story. I want to touch on Boston really, really briefly. One of my good YouTube friends, B-Souls, as we all know, he's a Celtics fan and all that stuff. And he just made a video basically talking about the mistake they made that can possibly cost them their future. And we all know what it is. It's Kemba Walker. I said it before, bro, and I tweeted this. One of the best decisions Michael Jordan has made as a GM or owner, whatever you want to call him, is not giving Kemba Walker a super max contract. Bro, imagine Kemba Walker right now on this contract in Charlotte. Like, imagine that. Now, if you look at Boston, they've just lost Gordon Hayward, which to me is addition by subtraction because Gordon Hayward, I would never want to pay that man $30 million. I'm sorry. Like, he's probably the most disappointing Celtic of all time, and it's not even his fault. But you're stuck with Kemba Walker, who's expensive, a defensive liability, and I really wouldn't even want him as my first or possibly even my second option. If you're Boston right now, and I know Danny Ainge feels this because, bro, he was even trying to shop Kemba Walker like that came out. You want to build around your future, bro. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, not Kemba Walker. Like, Kemba Walker, let's be honest, he was a desperation signing. Like, he was. Kyrie had left. You kind of want to, you wanted to poke at Kyrie like, oh, we've replaced you with a selfless player, a player that's going to buy into our Brad Stevens system and all that. But you never really needed him at that price. He's not going to really elevate your team to a championship contender, so why pay him that much? I know some Boston fans feel me. Like, for $34 million, you probably could have got 2 or 3 solid pieces to fill out that bench and probably ended with the exact same result last year. Last year, as we all know, Kyrie and Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn. Just like with Houston, it wasn't as bad. I feel like in our gut, in our subconscious, we all kind of felt like, I hope their egos, attitudes, and kind of moody personalities kind of don't interfere with each other because they've had that reputation. Now, fast forwarding to this year, they haven't even put their product on the floor yet. Like, Kevin Durant hasn't played 1 minute, 1 second as a Brooklyn Net. And I feel like there's been a little bit too much gossip, news, and all that stuff kind of surrounding their players. Now that they re-signed Joe Harris, I think that James Harden talk and all the chatter, that's dead. Like, I think that's a dub. But you do kind of wonder how that's going to make Kyrie Irving feel. Like, they talked about, like, it was serious talks about you possibly being replaced or being a third option with James Harden coming there. And it was your idea to even go to Brooklyn, and it's your hometown. Also, with 2 strong-ass personalities like KD and Kyrie, and them making those weird statements about Steve Nash and the coaching, and Steve Nash never coaching one day in his life, I still wonder how that coaching thing is going to work out. Like, that's a big question mark to me. The Clippers last year, they were supposed to take over the world. Like, Patrick Beverley even came out and said to Stephen Curry, we have the next 5 years. He said that. Everybody, including me, like, I'm not, even me, everybody picked the Clippers and everybody jumped on that Clippers bandwagon so strong. It wasn't because of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Like, yes, we know they're great, but it wasn't because of them. I think it's just because they had the better team. Like on paper, they had the better team. During the season, when anybody popped up as a free agent, Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, whoever, Joakim Noah, everybody picked the Clippers. If you asked any NBA fan, bro, anybody with a brain, who was the better duo, LeBron and AD or Paul George and Kawhi, like anybody would have said LeBron and AD. We just questioned really the Lakers' depth. Like everybody outside of LeBron and AD, we pretty much had questions about. Now they even have the better team than the Clippers. Last year, if you asked me who was the sixth man of the year, my pick was Dennis Schroeder. Like I thought he did more for OKC than anybody else off the bench. The person that really won sixth man of the year was Montrezl Harrell. Bro, they got them both. Also, for everybody talking about, I hope Montrezl Harrell, he doesn't play that Clippers defense on the Lakers and all that stuff. That's what I hear all Lakers haters saying and all that. This is why I don't agree with that, bro. With the Clippers last year, Montrezl Harrell was asked to be their best big, possibly their best big, definitely their best power forward. Like he was asked to have that duty. With the Lakers, he's not going to be asked to do that. Like they already have an established big with Marc Gasol now and Anthony Davis. They don't need Montrezl to do all that. He can literally just be that energetic player that he is and just thrive like that. Like the Lakers, they're not big deficient. They have bigs. They're good like that. So they don't need Montrezl Harrell to be Superman like the Clippers did. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like this video. Trust me, I have a lot more teams and a lot more to talk about. I just wanted to talk about last year's offseason compared to this one. The big storylines and the big teams. Where the hell are they at right now? Like, that's what I wanted to talk about. Make sure you guys follow my Twitter, my IG, all my social media sites. Turn on post notifications. Do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.